the expectations, the eagerness that the people, the fan base, and now knowing you all, everybody here expecting just to put this team in the top and putting this team into protagonism into the league. So I'm very excited too when I hear that, and I choose Orlando because I want to be part of that.
What culture are you hoping to build here in Orlando?
A culture that has compromise with the city, with the fans, and people who really wants to come and win. Obviously, knowing the ways to do it and developing an identity that can be part of the academy process too, and every player that dresses on the Orlando's jersey.
The club has a lot of opportunities in the near future with the roster, the new facilities. How are you going to capitalize on that?
I think it's great just to have facilities like that where you can group them up in there, that you can have the academy, you can have the second team, and you can have the whole chain there to develop. So for me, that is exciting.
How would you characterize your coaching style and philosophy?
Well, first, the coach, he always is demanding the players to have compromise. And obviously, in the first divisions, you want to win games, players who can have that culture. But knowing, as I said before, knowing how to do it. And that needs to be provided by the coach with a way to do it, with a model of play that can players understand and have an identity. Obviously, we would like to propose a team who can be in attacking mode, but at the same time, we would like to have a team who can keep their balance and provide it a fan base or the people who pay to come and provide joy. Winning games, obviously, we'll need to do that.
Talk about your relationship with GM Luis Musi.
Well, we have been working together in Dallas for years. We were part of a process there. It's probably similar to what we have here now, a challenge to keep developing an academy, keep developing players, and winning titles. And we had a lot of joy there.
Somebody already called him.
Orlando, the dreams, the expectations, the eagerness that the people, the fan base, and now knowing you all, everybody here expecting just to put this team in the top and putting this team into protagonism into the league. So I'm very excited too when I hear that, and I choose Orlando because I want to be part of that.
What culture are you hoping to build here in Orlando?
A culture that has compromise with the city, with the fans, and people who really wants to come and win. Obviously, knowing the ways to do it and developing an identity that can be part of the academy process too, and every player that dresses on the Orlando's jersey.
The club has a lot of opportunities in the near future with the roster, the new facilities. How are you going to capitalize on that?
I think it's great just to have facilities like that where you can group them up in there, that you can have the academy, you can have the second team, and you can have the whole chain there to develop. So for me, that is exciting.
How would you characterize your coaching style and philosophy?
Well, first, the coach, he always is demanding the players to have compromise. And obviously, in the first divisions, you want to win games, players who can have that culture. But knowing, as I said before, knowing how to do it. And that needs to be provided by the coach with a way to do it, with a model of play that can players understand and have an identity. Obviously, we would like to propose a team who can be in attacking mode, but at the same time, we would like to have a team who can keep their balance and provide it a fan base or the people who pay to come and provide joy. Winning games, obviously, we'll need to do that.
Talk about your relationship with GM Luis Musi.
Well, we have been working together in Dallas for years. We were part of a process there. It's probably similar to what we have here now. A challenge to keep developing an academy, keep developing players, and winning titles. And we had a lot of joy there.
Recuerdo acá el combine.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Loud and Proud Orlando. Definitely not the best of times. We have a long, pretty good episode today. A little bit of a heartbreak of this particular season that we've had this year. And we'll take all your questions for sure. You guys are more than welcome to put anything you want to talk about, anything you want to discuss, put it on the chat, and we'll be able to go ahead and read all your questions. I'm here with John. He'll be with me today. And certainly a lackluster game against Toronto is a cruel twist of fate, just when the Lions seemed that they were trying to claw back their way to the top seed, or attempt to have some sort of good momentum. I wouldn't say even gut wrenching. It was a horrible game. It was a 4-2 demolition by Toronto. Well deserved game by Toronto on decision day that really sent shockwaves through the whole fandom. 4 straight winless games for Orlando City, 2 losses, 2 draws. And right now, Orlando is literally staring down to a do or die wild card game with Chicago Fire, a team that has been, feasting, on underdogs pretty much all season. My expectations really are really very, 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 of course, objectively speaking, I feel like this is going to be in Chicago. This is going to be probably a packed stadium. I think Chicago has been waiting for this moment to go into the playoffs. And Orlando really doesn't come on the best momentum. Objectively, I have to say that I think the balance of power is tilted more towards Chicago. But I truly, in my heart, do feel that this particular squad and Oscar Pareja as a coach are able to overcome Chicago as well. But right now, it doesn't seem like this is the way it might go against a contender like the Fire. I remember the dark days before Oscar Pareja arrived in 2022. Sorry, in 2019. My apologies. Mediocrity, defensive sieves, here and then playoff teases, but they evaporated like morning dew. It was nothing. And then he stormed in, and as you saw on the videos that I played on the beginning of the show, flipped the script. Not only tactically, you may agree with his tactics or not, but Orlando had a kind of like a blueprint on how to play and a culture. And obviously, it was intricate for Orlando to keep thriving forward. Yet, the fans, well deservingly so, are pissed off of what happened against Chicago. And I'm 100% on board. I was upset. I was disappointed. I was really mad as well, just like all of you, you know. But these are the times in which there's going to be a lot of things, and we're diving into also some of the rumors that are brewing right now. We're not here to be misinforming people. We're here to give our analysis. You got to take some of those rumors with a really grain of salt. A lot of those outlets do not know MLS contract situations, and it's just because a club is interested doesn't mean that the player wants to leave. Unless you live with the player, then that's a different story. But saying that Duncan McGuire wants to leave, that everybody wants to leave, I think we are digging. We're going self-terminating ourselves, and I think that there is still a lot of stuff to dive in, but we'll dive into that too. But we're going to be talking today, before John speaks his piece. We're going to go ahead and discuss, the gut wrenching ninth place finish. We're also going to be talking about the Toronto game as well, 4-2 preview. Also have the Wildcard game against Chicago Fire, and with all the score predictions and your comments. John, how are you, my friend? How do you took that L?
Pretty badly. Yeah, I think when we were sitting here a couple weeks ago and we had 2 games left, we were like, okay, well, we really, maybe a win and a draw, maybe 3 points. Even if we just got 1 point out of those 2 games, even 1 point would have been enough to put us in 7th. We have better goal difference than Columbus. We gave up arguably, I think 1 point against Vancouver would have been a realistic, achievable result for us. We threw that away. And then in this game, it's an epic failure, really. You gotta go to Toronto and you've got to produce something. And we just laid a massive egg. I mean, there's no other way to say it. Like, they performed horribly. It was not a good performance. Toronto looked like the playoff team, and we look like the team that's not going to be in the playoffs, not the other way around. And I think, the season is done for a lot of people. Like, not I'm saying that's me necessarily, because I know it's not 100% done yet. But if you look at the way we've ended the season, I don't think there's a lot of hope
100%
going into the playoffs. And I think that the Vancouver game was like a test against a top opponent. We failed that. And then we did that classic thing, which I talked about on the pod, that we knew was a potential of happening, was, are we going to go to Toronto and play down to a worse opposition? And that's what we did. And yeah, it's very frustrating, because the beginning of the season was bad. The middle of the season, we really looked like a great team in this league, and we had all these numbers about how we had the best offensive team ever and the best DP production ever and all of these goals, etc. And that was great. And then the end of the season, post Leagues Cup, post that Miami game, that really, I don't know if that mentally just broke them, but everything since then has been lackluster and off, and we don't look like a team that can score more 1 goal a game, really. This is the first time we've scored multiple goals in a game. I just think we look off, and I don't think we look like a team that's going to do much in the playoffs. So I think for me this year with Oscar, I mean, we'll talk broader anyway, but, yes, arguably we have more points than last year, but does that matter if you come 9th compared to like 3rd?
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
Like, at the end of the
No.
day, 9th is a massive step backwards from where we've been coming recently. And I think with him, there's a question over, like, is he making us better year on year? And we said that at the beginning of this season, like, how do we take a step forward from last year? And I don't think we have at all. I think it's been a step backwards in every sense. But the biggest one for me has been our defense. And our defense is just the double pivot of last year is not there. Like, I know we've had a lot of injuries in midfield, but the defense on the whole has been a lot worse. And we haven't had that like stability of other years at the back that we can rely on to build results on. And we saw this defense really struggling at the beginning of the year, at the end of the year. And I just think that lack of consistency under Oscar was another thing that this year we needed to improve on. You know, we needed to show we could be a consistent team. We started badly. It got better. And then it was like, okay, now can we be good for the rest of the year and go into playoffs as a strong competitive team in the East? And that's what a lot of people expected us to do. And that's what I hear from all the different people around the league and the pundits and all of this. Everyone's like, what the hell are Orlando City doing in ninth position?
Well, if we're talking about what people were saying in the beginning of the season,
well,
people also have to be responsible and eat their words on certain decisions the front office made in the beginning of the season. Mainly renewing Angulo, and then people now killing Angulo, signing Pasalic. I remember that. It's fresh in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were nervous.
I also remember
Facu going.
Spicer. Then now it's a fan favorite. And then when he first got here, he was like, "Oh, that's what you're gonna give me, Spicer? That's what you're gonna give me, bro, Spicer?" You know, and you know that's what I'm saying is, you know, if we're gonna go back and rewind the tape, I can also probably say, you know, it's been a growth. If you look at it in an objective way, it's been an objective growth with the budget they've had to manage, and I still stand by what I say, that I feel like if this ownership would open up the wallet a little more, I think
this is the best Orlando City team we've had in a while, honestly.
But I mean,
I think maybe the midfield is lacking, but like to say that, you know, I think it's got more to do with us dropping points and poor results. Like, yes, the East is very competitive, but like when you lose to, you know, when you only manage draws against like Montreal and you lose to teams like, you know, New York City at home last second and all of these results that we saw, I think it's like 13 points total across the season drop from winning positions. That's where it's like, okay, but we have a very good squad. Like that for me is on Oscar. Like dropping those points, yes, it's partly the team, but I also really blame the manager for not coaching them in a way to be able to see out results. And I think that's a big problem we have. We don't play well over 90 minutes. We play well for like 10, 15 minutes in patches here and there, but throughout the season, we're not able to be consistent throughout games. And we've seen many times that we've thrown away points. So for me, it's like, yes, there was changeover in the squad, but I believed, apart from some of the injuries in midfield, I really believe like our roster is better than ninth. So at some point, I think you have to say, like, is Oscar actually getting the best out of these guys anymore? And that's where I'm starting to think, like, what could Martin Ojeda look like under a different coach? What could even, you know, Angulo, et cetera, under a different coach? Like, I just think that he was always very good at getting more out of the squad than what there was. And I don't think he did that this year. I think we upgraded the squad, and I don't think we saw an upgrade in results. The only caveat I would say is that the East is very difficult.
Now, to be devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Cesar Araujo injured, missed 8 games. Robin Jansen hobbled past June.
I mean, Wilder from the start.
Wilder from the start. Sukata from the start. We have to get Spicer. You know, Dagodan Thorhalsen.
They did replace those guys. You know what I mean? Like they did. They brought in Atuesta.
Now,
they brought in Nico. Like there were other
now
players in the squad.
attack inconsistency. From Luis Muriel. We already talked about that plenty of times. So we're going to read your
We
comments in
still
just a
didn't have
second.
3 DPs this year.
Right. Now, we went from over reliance on quote unquote over reliance on Facu Torres to obviously having Martino Ojeda had one of the best seasons he's ever had in MLS, right? And also the best signing Orlando City made so far, probably in the whole Moreira era, including Facu Torres, has been Marco Pasalic. Even though people have to also eat their words. If we're gonna, they didn't like Marco Pasalic coming into the team, so you also have to give fist bumps to the front office as well. It can't be all
That's what
it
I'm
can't be
saying.
all be shite. It can't
I
be
think no, I'm not blaming.
right.
I think that Ricardo put together a squad, in my opinion, that's better than ninth in the East.
Right.
And that's where I think that I do blame the players a lot, because I think they are to blame for not seeing out games. And I think we have a lack of leadership, and no one is like putting the team on their back and saying, I'm going to make sure that we don't mess up and we don't give away last minute goals. And I kind of blame Jansen for that in a lot of ways, because he is the captain. But it's clear to me that without Wilder and Cesar in front of protecting that back four, it is not the same as it has been in other years. And I don't think Oscar really managed to fix that. But I do think the front office gave him a good squad. I think the squad is better than ninth. And that's sort of where I'm at here. It's like,
right. It's been
we needed to end the
inconsistencies.
season well to come in at 4th, 5th, 6th to recover that bad mid-season, and we haven't done that.
You're completely
and this
right.
was a really bad way to end the season.
You're completely right on the lack of leadership.
Press conference,
Yeah,
Don't you think? I think Oscar looked more frustrated at the players than I've seen him in a long time in that.
100%. I mean, because he's been taking.
Yeah, he's been covering their asses.
He's been taking all the freaking heat, and some of these players do not even want to do the press conferences. And I do want to say, he's been taking a lot of the load, but also there's been some bad coaching decisions as well, just like you said. Putting, subs late. Also, the subs. There are games that the subs he puts in immediate impact. Some other games, the subs they put in, they don't pan out the way it was supposed to pan out.
There's been some games this year that definitely Oscar won with his tactics. I am not disputing that. And I still think he's a very good coach in this league. I just question whether, and this is something I've said many times, and he said himself, that he would take us as far as he could, and then he would say, I can't do any more. And so that's where I'm at this year is, have we reached that point? Like a bigger, wider question that we'll get into in the offseason. But if you change this whole team around, like if we make serious offseason changes and we keep Oscar, like he has to show an improvement next season. You know what I mean? Because in this offseason, they're either going to do, I think they're going to either do both or just change the squad, right? So they might change the whole squad and move on from Oscar. But even if they don't, I think we're regardless going to see a different makeup of like the core, the spine, as you were, of this squad, I believe, in this offseason, because we cannot go into another season with the same manager and the same squad that we've had for about 4 or 5 years. We've had some changes, but the core of this squad has been here for a long time under the same coach, and it's not produced MLS Cup. So we can't do that again. We've got to do something different in 2026.
Now, I agree with you. I mean, the deal for Oscar Pareja is a deal that expires on 2028. Now, obviously, everything could be changing if they decide otherwise.
If they want to pay him off, they'll pay him off.
That's right. That's right. So I don't know if it's gotten to that level. For what I can tell you, for what I've heard, is that everything seems and again, I don't want to go against the grain. I'm just saying for the facts that I know because I cover the team, is everything is moving towards probably him staying for one more for the season, and some of the players will be leaving. Some of the players are looking at their last seasons now. The past few games for some of the players also, it's been pretty bad. But I do want to say that doesn't mean that they're going to lose their value. So, for example, you have to understand, in any team, if a player is not happy and they want to leave, I think the club has demonstrated they're going to do what's best for the club. They're going to get some money, right? A lot of money, more than likely, and then let the player go. And it is what it is, John. I mean, it's the cruelty of soccer, right? It's just the cruelty, the way it is. Managers
Yeah.
come and go. Managers come and go. Front offices change.
And here in MLS,
Players change,
like
right?
coaches get a long leash. Like he's been here a long
Yeah.
time, so it's not. He understands. Everybody would understand. It's
100%.
not. There would be no malice to it whatsoever. It would just be like, look, we've had a long time. We've been a great project here, but we haven't able to get that MLS Cup. We're gonna have to move on and find someone else. I don't think it is likely to happen. I'm with you in the sense that I think logically, if you look at it, he signed a deal. I still think he's a very good coach in this league. If not, he's not one of the best, but he's very good. And I think if him and Ricardo have a game plan as to what they want to change in the squad and they do that together, then it could work. But I think at that point, if you then go through 2026 and it hasn't worked, then he has to go because it's like
I 100% agree with
and
you.
you see this with teams, right? Atlanta, I know people are going to talk about this, and we'll go to your comments in a minute. Atlanta, right? They spent 60 million over two or
Insane.
three MLS transfer windows. So when it got to like this year, I'm surprised they didn't do it in the summer. I mean, of course, today they fired, or yesterday they fired Ronnie Dyla because they came second from bottom, having spent that much money. In that scenario, you spent all this money on players. You can't throw away 60 million worth of players. You can get a new manager and see if he'll work with those new players. We're in an opposite kind of scenario where like we've had a long time with the same coach and the same really core of the squad. So in this scenario, it's like, okay, what do you do? Do you want to change the coach? Do you want to change the squad? I think more likely they're gonna go the squad route. How extreme they go with that, we'll have to see. But I think changes are coming.
100%. I agree with you, John. And again, thank you to everybody that's leaving your comments. Let's read some comments real quick. It says, Kenneth Allen, thank you so much, my friend, for joining. Hopefully you go over the latest rumor that Pasalic wants out, seeing multiple posts about him wanting to leave OC. Look, I'm sure there's interest. He's one of the top signings in the MLS that came completely unnoticed. No one had him in the radar. He was doomed to fail based on what the fans on Facebook, on X, and to other pundits were saying that he was going to be a bust, that he didn't have any minutes in Croatia, and then nobody knew their team. Well, he has one of the best numbers right now, and clearly there's going to be teams that are going to have eyes, but are they willing to pay? And number two, does Marco really want to leave? I'll be lying to you in your face if I tell you he wants to leave.
If you could bring this up on screen, Luis, just so people can get some context as to what the rumor is. So this rumor was put out here from Sky Sports Germany, essentially, that Borussia Dortmund is interested in Marco Pasalic.
Mönchengladbach.
Borussia Mönchengladbach is interested in him. Of course, he was in Germany before playing for Dortmund, etc. And apparently there's also in the focus of, that's like a new one. Never heard that one, Luis, right? It's usually like, we are interested in, or we like this. Like the new one is also in the focus of Bologna, Feyenoord, and other Bundesliga clubs. This could be anybody in Germany of one of these clubs making this up. This could be whatever. Like, I do think he came to Orlando City to find somewhere where he was going to get constant minutes so he could get back in the Croatian national team. That has happened, and he is playing in the Croatian national team. And this applies to everybody who's in this scenario. They're not leaving their club now in the next
Exactly,
year.
for World Cup.
It's not. It's the same thing with Alex Freeman now. Like, why would he risk going back to Germany to potentially play or not play for a German club, having just come here this year to be somewhere where he's going to get consistent minutes and then get into the national team scene? It's just, why would you put yourself in that scenario? I don't think it's true. Personally, I think this is just one of those that's been thrown out there. I would be shocked. And if it is true, they're gonna have to spend a lot of money to pry us. Like, we spent $4 million or so on him.
At least 10.
Fee, I think, for him to come over. A year later, we don't want to. I'm sure they don't want to lose him unless he is. They're reporting that he's saying he wants to leave.
Who?
And, like, there's been other reports saying, like here it says, would like to return to Europe. I mean, there's no evidence of that. They could just be making that up. Unless Marco comes out in an interview somewhere and says, I want to return to Europe, I don't believe any of this. I think literally this is complete opposite. So I just wanted to share my thoughts on that.
No, I agree with you. And again, you from all people, the transfers, we got to take it to the grain of salt. For my understanding is he's happy in Orlando. And you have to also think it like this. Do you want to be king of the castle? One of the faces of a franchise? Playing comfortably in an area, in a city in which, you have the love of the fans. You go to get your chicken tender sub and people ask you for a picture and then they'll let you do your groceries. Or you rather go to Feyenoord and then have all the Feyenoord hooligans, trying to bother you if you don't score 3 goals, or you want to be a pawn in the chess game in Europe. And he's coming from having injuries and also not having a lot of minutes in Rijeka and being a player that coming from the bench essentially, to being one of the leading faces in the attack for Orlando City. If I'm him and the World Cup's coming up, I would rather stay and continue with my contract. And then once I kill it in the World Cup, that's when his suitors are going to come up. That's when if he becomes one of the top scorers for Croatia, guys.
Yeah.
It's same with Alex Freeman, right, John? If Alex Freeman they're gonna come knocking,
and that's when we should sell those guys too. Like, I think a lot of time you don't realize, like, yes, it sounds quite inhumane, but players are like assets, and you kind of have to buy and sell them at the right times. Like, and this is what it was with Facu Torres. We bought him, and he was on that contract. We got him to sign another contract, but eventually, at some point, you got to cash out. You got to take that money to recoup what you bought him for, to invest in the next guy, et cetera, et cetera. So Marco, he's 2 or 3 years here at the club. Maybe we will sell him back to Europe. Maybe that'll be a great thing. Or maybe he just wants to stay here and be an MLSer for life, and that's fine too. There's no problem with that. But at the time, unless it's crazy money, we're not going to sell him in the winter. We're not going to sell him before the World Cup. It would be after the World Cup, I believe, when, if he has a great time, then the value goes up and we get even more money. That's when you want to, have. And I think this always happens after the World Cup. It's like, trading season. Like, all the clubs around the world are like, ooh, this guy, and I want to buy that guy. And they've all had their scouts out watching the World Cup games, and they all want whoever's been doing well or not well.
Now, I also do want to say, and again, it has happened before, and be ready. There are players that if they are prioritizing their salaries, and this has happened in South America, they really not play at the full potential on World Cup year because they're saving themselves for national team duty. So, again, and this is going to sound really bad what I'm about to say, but it happens all the time. It happens with the Argentinians, happens with the Mexicans, happens with the Brazilians. and they're taking care of their legs essentially, right? And so we may not see a 11 goal, 12 goal Marco Pasalic next season. We may see a 9 or 10, hopefully. But still, if he's scoring 5 goals in the World Cup or 4 goals in the World, he's one of the top scorers of Croatia. Like John was saying, people are going to come knocking and we're going to triple our investment. I mean, the team is going to triple their investment. In the end, guys, this is a numbers game, it's a money game. It's not our money. I understand, but also, as you saw what Oscar said in 2019, we now have a system. Even if he leaves, we have a system in which we can now develop talent and create talent and then sell them essentially if we need to be ones that are ready for the first team. Let's read some comments real quick. John Merritt says, well, we have already know Freeman wants to play Europe. I know that. Yeah. One thing is wanting to, another thing is, playing it, and I feel like for the last performances, with all due respect, I think Freeman is a little green, in my opinion. Victor Rosa, when did Angulo stop sucking? Well, I think that he's turned defensively. I think his lack of finishing, I think it's been a constant, right, John? His lack of finishing for Angulo, but his defensive mode. I like defensive mode Angulo.
He is what he is, right? Like we use him for a certain purpose. Yeah. He serves our purposes. I feel like at a certain point it's like blood from a stone. It's like either accept that that's what a player is, or you just don't like them. I get it, but like you don't expect more because I don't. Honestly, 2024 Angulo was, I think, the best Angulo we'll ever see. Like
100%.
Some players just have that one season where they're awesome, and then they kind of revert to the norm.
But what positive do you take out of 2025 Angulo? I can give you one.
2025 Orlando?
No, Angulo. 2025 Angulo. Out of his, despite all the critics, is the defensive mode Angulo. This is the way that will be played the back than Marin.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help Marin in any of the games, but it's nice that he tries.
Yeah. Guilla Carlos, I kind of want to get back to when it was sucking, but the rest of the team was on fire. Angulo has no goals in MLS and 1 goal total. There you go. Marion looks absolutely terrible. It says, well, he's getting used to the league. He said in an interview. I don't think Angulo is the problem, to be honest. At least the dude works hard on the field. He just can't score to save his life. I mean, we had Carlos Rivas. I mean, he couldn't defend and he couldn't attack. So at least
Angulo is twice the player Carlos Rivas ever was.
Love Marco, says Miss Elizabeth. Thank you so much. Landon says, no matter what happens, Angulo out. There you go. It's still alive, but don't know. But if they don't win it, Pareja, Angulo, Muriel out, says Ruben Perez. There you go.
I mean, Muriel out. I'm on that train. I've been on that train for a while.
I think it's time, guys.
I thought I was gonna have to eat my hat when he started playing really well, and then that lasted like a month. So, yeah.
I heard the dude has a Ferrari.
I don't know.
Herman.
After this season, I just don't want to see Muriel. Like that would be for me is the biggest affront. If they bring him back for another year, that will be the biggest. Like we're not trying, in my opinion, because we can't have a DP striker. It doesn't produce.
Yeah, I think it's not a good sign when we see Muriel resigning. I think this year, they're gonna have to take. I think they're gonna have to take the L. They're gonna have to take the
lowest amount it is to buy him out now. Just take the L.
Yeah,
I get you didn't want to do it last year, but this year you just gotta bite the bullet because I think the first year it's like okay, it's a gimme. Maybe he just needed a year to adjust. This year, he just can't hack it. So
you can do that to the fans after this. Lackluster ending.
You know, we need 3 out of 3 DPs in this league to do
100%. 100%. I just think it's not fair on the attacking third for the
Yeah.
team. And I just think it's not fair for Oscar and also not fair for the fans because
Yeah.
they expected much more of this signing 100%.
I think like Herman says here, right? They'll buy out Muriel and also go spend big on a striker.
100%.
That's what we want to see.
Yep.
And I think Paslic and Ojeda are great DPs. I don't want to lose them or move them out of position. Just change the rest of the squad.
Get Richarlison.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't think they were going after Richarlison to do anything but play striker. I think that was the plan.
Or you could get Daryl DK for cheap. No, I'm just kidding. Josh Stahl says we better win Wednesday. Vamos Orlando.
Daryl DK on the Pato deal. I'm down. Like you want to come back on a pay to play deal?
Bro,
I'm in.
I got DK on my ultimate team, bro.
Yeah, only if he's only when he's paid to play though. You know, I can't be paying him to sit on the bench injured. Sadly.
Kenneth Allen, do you think we can beat Chicago and then beat Philly? I just don't see it. It's gonna be tough. We'll discuss in just a second. It says it's not over yet. Pedro not playing well. Yeah, that's another one, which I do want to address.
Well, he did have a really bad game.
This was a freaking horrible game by Pedro Ellis.
He laid a big old egg in Toronto.
Yeah, this was like pooping the bed and just have it dangle it from the back.
I mean, they said that it was one of his errors directly led to the goal, according to FootMob.
Yeah,
he conceded 4. And didn't really. Yeah. I mean, it was like 6 shots and 4 of them went in. So
yeah, it was
you know,
it was.
He
terrible.
can have days where he will save all of those, but
100%.
Yeah, this was a really bad Pedro Gallese performance. Sadly,
there's a Le Romero go. I don't know who Romero is.
I think she was saying Ramiro. They let Ramiro go, which is I know is like
okay.
The number one gripe of everybody is the season did not go down the trash because we let Ramiro
exactly.
go. That's not
exactly
the goals. You know, Ojeda didn't stop scoring goals, and Paslic didn't stop scoring goals, and like we didn't just suddenly stop being a clinical team because we let Enrique go. Like, yes, maybe there's some argument to be said. We could have used him in this time as a third striker, of course, but we also have massive injuries in midfield and issues in defense, which has nothing to do with Enrique being there or not. So I think that's an oversimplification by some people.
In the Saudi League, outside of Al Nassr, I think it's a couple of Al Hilal and maybe one more. Al Fateh or Qadisiyah. The rest of the teams are like MLS Next Pro teams. Okay, let me break it down to you. The level of play is horrendous. Number one, so he went hot from here, and clearly he's delivering over there because, I mean, if you think our defenses are trash in the MLS, just think what, in Saudi Arabia are 10 times worse now. Number one, why did Ramiro go? Number one, money. It was time in which there was an offer that Orlando could not refuse, and Ramiro being a substitute, it was the peak amount of money they could get for Ramiro, and it was good for Ramiro. He agreed to it. It was good for the club, and all you have to understand, not only the front office is going to do good for the club, and trust the Muriel back. Oscar trusts that Duncan was a scoring machine, and he decided that he was going to go ahead and support Duncan and Muriel and his attack, and then Ojeda was not going to drop the ball and continue scoring in every game. He believed in that and rolled with it. He made a decision, and I think it was a mutual agreement in really amicable ways, according to my sources, very amicable ways, to the point that even the father of Ramiro was impressed by how Orlando handled that. And it is what it is. The whole thing that people are trying to like turn it at that, the club is in for the money, and we should have. So you cannot force nobody to work. If anything, you can. He just wanted an opportunity to him be the man in a different team. And there you go. That's what happened. Atalanta fired their head coach. There you go. I'm still frustrating. I'm still a frustrating thing to have happen, even if it's not a reality. It sends a terrible message to the fans that we're selling one of the three strikers before the playoffs. Well, I mean, but you have Muriel and you have Duncan, right? And so, I guess there has to be some sort of sense of responsibility also on the player. I mean, you have to make a decision. I mean, Muriel, just by the name, is a better name than a Ramiro Enrique. So definitely, common sense wise, he should have worked out. Same with Duncan. You signed him for, I think it was $1 million or something that we signed Duncan for. His salary, he's like close to $1 million or something like that. So, I mean, clearly we went for the players that we entrusted on. Now, the fact that they've panned out or didn't pan out, then, unfortunately, it is what it is, right? Ramiro scored 4 goals in 5 games in Saudi Arabia, correct. Ramiro hiking his shorts up brought us good luck. There you go. So let's dive into, I don't know if you want to continue talking about Toronto or you want to dive into...
Let's talk Toronto and I want to talk about the goals.
Yeah, sure.
So first one, a great shot by Osorio, but like our midfield two of Atuesta and Smith are nowhere to be found. Like they don't step up fast enough there. We keep doing this thing where they like all drop into the back line, and it's like you've got like, I don't know if Kyle thinks he has to go back and Atuesta thinks he has to go back. And I don't know what was happening there, but there's just a giant hole and Osorio shoots. I don't know what Pedro's doing. It's like it happens in slow motion or something, and he doesn't do anything on that goal. The second one, Mihailovic takes a great free kick, but
phenomenal free kick. But it was Pedro's fault.
I think so, man. Like, why is he not trying to save that with 2 hands? I just don't understand what that one-handed flap it is. Like,
reminded me of Anna
exactly,
Morehouse, bro.
Dude. I say this all the time about goalkeepers. Like, it's technique. Like, it's the same way that you need to strike a ball repeatedly to the right way to hit it right. You need to be able to. You should be saving everything with 2 hands. There's no, unless you really have to stretch. That's the only reason the one-handed save exists, is when you can't reach it with both hands. So I don't know what Pedro's doing on that goal. That really pissed me off.
And not only that, like, do you see after the fact when he like was yelling at the at the back line saying you're positioning really
but
bad.
That's his job to tell them where to be. That's like, you got your thing lined up, and then he's done this before where he's not in the middle of the goal. He's too far over to the side, and then he takes this like half step over to cover. I don't know, but he could have saved it, but he flapped at it with one hand. So I don't know what he's 100%. Doing there. The beginning of the, so we go in, it's 2-0 down, and I think, okay, right, like Oscar's got to talk to the boys. He's got to fix this. They got to come out. And then the second half starts, and they just immediately score a goal. Again, the ball bounces from a corner, like a cross, into the box. Mihailovic, their best player, completely unmarked. Kyle Smith, nowhere to be found. Atuesta just ball watching, literally watching it fly over his head. Horrible, horrible defense. And then I don't know what Pedro's doing once again, on the save. I'll give him a little bit of grace on that one because it kind of bounces like on the way to him, but not a good save, at all there. And that we're 3-0 at that point. Redeeming, factor is we do get a goal back to make it 3-1. And that was, okay. So it's like, all right, we got some fight left in us. Can we do something? It was a really nice ball in for Marco Pasalic on the swinging ball, and then David Bracolo running into the back post, scoring. It was like a recycled corner, I believe, before that. So it was like, that's why he was still up there, and they moved the ball well. and put it back in. So that was good. We don't always see those kind of crosses connecting from Marco onto the head of somebody. So that was nice to see.
Well, he's been doing that with Croatia.
Yeah, exactly. And then the one that really hurt was the 4-1. I mean, again, ball comes back in the midfield. Angulo makes a horrible touch, doesn't claim it.
Horrible,
Everybody's
man.
ball watching. Everybody. Like, we're all just standing there. Ball goes out wide, comes across to Devin Kerr, their only really main striker. No one's marking him. No one's covering him. He can just slot it in the back of the net. So that's 4-1. Duncan did get a goal back, and it was nice to see, but it didn't really mean much. I think it was a really good goal. It was a great ball to him, and then just a nice finish.
He always scores against Toronto.
That was not Muriel. That was Freeman with the ball forward.
Freeman, yeah.
So I think that those were all that's some positives that happened. There was some positives in this game. Very few indeed, but there were a few moments that was like, okay, we show some fight here. But yeah, I think overall the display we saw was just nowhere near what we needed. Like, this is a big game. We're going to Toronto, and the boys just laid an egg. There's no other way to say it.
Yeah, so the offense to me had a hard time, obviously, breaking through Toronto's backline, in my opinion, and it was
Sean Johnson did have a really good game. In the first half, we created a lot, and we were attacking them very well. But after they scored, it all went downhill.
It was 31 shots total, and 12 of those shots were blocked by Toronto. So Toronto's defense certainly deserves credit for hustling.
They threw themselves on the line like they had the playoffs to play for, and we did not. And I think that's where's that from our team, right?
And that's the thing that I want to accentuate in this game. They looked like the playoff team, and we looked like a last place team. And it was a mental thing. I don't know. But the lines were just block and brick after brick and brick after brick. Marco Pasalic and Martino Heda had 12 shots in six shots each. Some great chances to get on the score sheet. No one could finish the goal. And obviously the only chance that Pasalic had was that cross to David Brecalo. And just, the Lions just failed at scoring in this game. They just couldn't score, and those are the things that separate a team that's going to contend for the championship or the supporter shield than a team that's going to enter through the back door. You know what I mean? And it is sad to say, but it is reality. And we have to say it.
I think things that really went wrong in this game, I think Atuesta was nowhere to be seen. I think, we'll talk a little bit more about his performances in the later half of the season. I think have been really disappointing. He started out brightly and it just has fallen off. Adrian Marin has not adjusted well and hasn't played a single good game. And we needed him to play a lot and hasn't played. I don't think we wanted him to play this much when we signed him in, but it's not gone well. Schlegel had a bad game here, but he has been better of our defenders, right? Like, he was probably one of the more consistent defenders throughout this year.
He's been the rock of the
it's hard to blame him. I think I was very frustrated with Alex Freeman in this game because I'm not going to blame him entirely, because I don't think he would have had such a free role unless Oscar has told him you're allowed to do that. But there was one moment, like the whole first half, Etienne Jr. was just cooking Brecalo because Freeman was nowhere to be found. And then at one point, Brecalo made that bad foul. Like, he basically had to foul the guy to stop the play. And he turned around, he looked at Alex. He's like, yo, where are you? Because I'm getting killed over here. And because I don't know at what point in the season did we just say to Alex, apparently you're so good you don't need to defend as a right back? Because I don't believe in that. Like, I think he's very good, but why is he just wandering around the whole freaking pitch? Like, he's not even just going
So
up and down the right side. Like, he's drifting inside. He's like everywhere. Like, he's good, but he's not that good. Like, I'm not being mean here when I say that, but like, why are we trying to make our right wing back, who's the youngest guy in the squad, the free roaming focal point of the team? I don't understand that. I blame Oscar for letting him do it. I don't know why we do it. And I just think it really frustrated and pissed me off because it's just a giant hole and he doesn't get back. Like earlier in the year, he would go up and he would actually make an effort. He's not doing it. He's just,
because you had Jansen,
I don't
probably.
know. I mean, maybe, yeah, but like Jansen then was a king for covering for him because he made it look way better than Brekalo did. But I'm telling you, like, dude, there's a giant hole. Anybody attacks us down the left
100%.
side because Alex, he's off on an adventure. It's like that Hobbit meme, from the beginning where it's like, I'm off on an adventure. It's like, great, bro. But like, get back and defend. You're a right back. I'm sorry, but you got to defend as well, man.
Look, you're completely right on that assessment, but I want to add, um, to play again devil's advocate. I
Like, he
feel
is good, but like, you got to
Orlando
defend.
had such a terrible time trying to score goals against Toronto, and they were so frustrated. It not only demoralized the whole entire team in general, even Oscar. I feel like he already threw the towel on the season. With all due respect, I just think he got fed up of covering for these guys,
Yeah.
and and what Freeman was trying to do erratically. You have to
Yeah.
understand he's a young cap too. Was trying to make something happen.
I get
Literally,
that.
like, because bro,
But at
look,
times I think he's in the
Atuesta,
way of the attacking players.
right? Because he was getting in the way of Atuesta. Atuesta was trying to
He's
create,
going
and
inside.
then
He's doing the daggy
he's
run.
kind of right. He's trying to
Why?
do exactly,
You're a
and
right winger.
because Atuesta was getting smoked, and he was also not defending the whole entire game.
Well,
Atuesta didn't
that's why
defend
it
for
was so
shit.
bad on that side in
Yeah,
particular.
and
Yeah, Atuesta had a horrible game.
Atuesta would
Was nowhere to be
create.
found.
Atuesta would create. He has a sweet foot. He doesn't shoot the damn ball, bro. Like, he's had so many chances to shoot, doesn't shoot the damn ball. So when people ask here, and I have Mr. John Merritt, thank you so much, sir. Says, can either of you guys explain to me what Atuesta does? He's a passenger every match, it seems. He's To me, he's not a defensive midfielder.
I,
To me, he's
right.
more of like
That's it. He's a box to
to me
box. You
he's
need to play like a
bo-
4-3-3, and he's one of the central mids, not the D
correct.
mid.
He's
I
he's not a
agree.
demon
But he's also not
at
an
all.
attacking mid. He's like that kind of. He's good on the ball, but like, do you really want to, have him be the guy that needs to track down everybody all the time and bring
Right.
down plays and win the ball and lay it off?
That was Cartagena. That
That was
was
Wilder for
Araujo
sure, and
in best
Cesar
years.
does it too. Both of them would do it, and I think the issue is here. It's like whenever you have this situation, and I think earlier in the year I was like, okay, he's giving time. Like, Oscar's gonna make him do that stuff because that's what Oscar does. Like, he makes these guys actually put in a defensive effort, and I think he started to do it, but it just, like I said with Atuesta, I've gone off the boil from him, and I think that with him being on a 1 year, I think if we bring him back next year, I don't want him to be a starting guy. I want him to be a rotation option, a guy off the bench. If we're playing the double pivot, like we said, Luis, I just don't think the defensive work rate is there enough. And then also there's games where he just goes missing on the ball as well. Like this game, like he didn't do anything when he had the ball. He just passed it
Yeah.
backwards. They constantly, I think they had a really good press, Toronto, and he is one that I noticed. If you high press against Atuesta, like, he panics. Like, he's not always the best at wiggling out of those situations. So they did that a lot, and then he just has to give an easy pass because he can't get his head up to find the good ball.
And also, and we're gonna read your comments in just a second. There were also some referee decisions that were a little bit wonky, and I do want to say, and again, this is not an excuse. This is stuff that I jotted down that I feel like this is something that needs to be talked about. There was a 33rd minute when a foul was called on Marco Passage for a handball while blocking a shot for Cifuentes.
Yeah. And that was the Marco put his hand in front of his face. The ball hit his hand. He's like, "Hey, what am I supposed to do? Like, you just let the ball hit me in the face." That was the free kick that then they scored the second goal off from Mihailovic as well. So, like, that's just one decision. We played a horrible game. You take away that free kick, they still win 3-2. It doesn't really matter that much in this game. It's a bit harsh. It's something in the rules that they maybe need to look at, is like, if the ball is literally on a trajectory to hit a guy's face and he blocks it with his hand, is that really an issue? Hey, yeah, our guest from Chicago is here to talk everything about it.
Okay, perfect. Let me read some comments while he comes in real quick. This is defensively, we really miss Cartagena. DK can come play to Orlando City this year. Yeah, hopefully, if it's for $1,000, I'll take him. we got John Rivera available. How are you, John?
We got John, who's joining us, one of my friends here from Goals TV. John is a big Chicago Fire fan. And so I thought this is a perfect time to bring him on the show to talk to us everything Chicago Fire, as we are now going to have to play a play-in game, which super sucks. So, I'm not looking forward to that. John, can you hear us, buddy? I don't think you're on mute there. I don't think we got you. Of course, we didn't think we have to play a play-in game, Luis, but here we are.
I know it's insane, honestly. Like,
there we go. Is that?
Yeah, we got you, buddy.
Perfect. We can hear
you. Okay, there we go. I was gonna say, how do you guys feel about obviously being within the actual playoff spots basically throughout the whole year, and now you guys obviously kind of last game kind of moved, shifted around a lot of things in MLS. Not just only for us, but like everyone as a whole. I think from like what was it 7, 8, 9, yeah. So we all kind of shifted from there. Obviously, I think from my perspective, I think I actually surprising. I have a lot of Orlando City friends, like Orlando City fan friends that I talk to on a daily basis. So I don't like. I have a lot of.
John, you got secret Orlando City friends?
Yeah. So I have.
I was your only Orlando City friend.
I know a bit about Orlando City just based off just having conversations with my friend and things like that. So I am very concerned. This is not the matchup that I wanted per se. Even with us being at home, I'll say that I think Orlando has a very good team, just in general, up and down, the roster. Like as a Fire fan, what I expected and what I wanted was us to actually get in a spot, just so that we could avoid having to deal with all this. And I feel like it would have helped us get a little extra weekend, a little bit more mental preparation. Obviously, with not competed in a playoff since 2017. The boys that are currently on the roster weren't on the roster when we made playoffs the last time. So this is a new experience for them. And obviously with a lot of them being on the younger side of things, trying to get that experience, something that Orlando already has, I feel like it's going to hinder us a lot. But I'm excited to see. How it turns out. Obviously, we're probably going to end up playing at SeatGeek. So not playing at Soldier Field, which is probably better just because of the environment.
It's a smaller, that's the old stadium, right? The one that's out where you guys used to play.
Yeah, it's over at Bridgeview. So
Bridgeview. So it's interesting that you say you don't want to play us, and like that's great. Like I love to hear a bit of positivity because we're feeling pretty negative over here. Like you said it perfectly right, John. Like you guys, I know all season have been like, are we going to be in the playoffs? Like you were on that line of like, can we compete enough? For us, we kind of felt like, are we going to get top 4? You know, we're definitely going to the playoffs. So to drop as far as we have and to have to be in this game is like not in a bad way, but like we didn't see ourselves being here at all. Whereas more likely Chicago was like, this is a scenario that could well happen where we're going to have to play a play-in game. I do think though, like you guys you played well against us this year. When we have played the games, there was that 3-1 that you guys did against us in our house, which was that was not fun. And honestly, like Zinkernagel, I know Luis loves Zinkernagel, and he's been on fire.
So yeah, I mean that's just my question for John. I mean, I think Zinkernagel, Kuipers, like obviously they've delivered this year, I believe, for Chicago. It's a 4-time U.S. Open Cup champion. You know, had a Supporters Shield also and MLS Cup. Honestly, I think Zinkernagel and Greg Berhalter has been able to leave his. You know, he was really heavily criticized for the national team, but I think with Chicago, he's actually really impressed a lot of the Chicago fandom, in my opinion. That's what I could see. But Zinkernagel to me is going to be huge. And after Orlando having this dud against Toronto, which is a huge dud because, again, going to 9th place, you know, it's terrible. Zinkernagel is going to be on fire. I mean, this is going to be a final for him. In this moments is when your star DPs have to come alive. Can Atuesta, can Kyle Smith, you know, because I have some news and I do want to break him down. I have some news regarding Orlando City. I'm talking about 48 hours before the wildcard match, Kyle Smith, Cesar Araujo, and Robin Jensen began warm-ups in the latest practice separately from the rest of the team. Then Kyle Smith joined the group session, and then followed by Cesar and Robin. So all three took part of the team talk and then part of the training with the whole entire team. So right now, what it looks like is right now they're debating who's going to be questionable for this game yet, but they're all literally game decision.
Yeah.
So
I mean, our midfield is really down to
So thank you to Alonso for that information. But I think this is going to be huge because defensively, it was a poor outing for Orlando City, and with that midfield and that attacking third that Chicago has, and the home field advantage they're going to have, we'll hope again, my expectations are kind of low.
Yeah, and not to be a pessimistic supporter, but I think me as well as other Fire fans know playing at home this year has not been the greatest. I think even when we played a couple games at Bridgeview, no, we have a better record away from home than we do at home. So yes, it's going to be nice to have a home playoff game again. But at the same time, like we know our track record at home, it hasn't been great. Even then, our defense has gone better through the as the year's gone on. But despite all that, there's still defensive woes that happen a lot. I definitely think Chris Brady's good, but if the defense in front of him is leaky at times and is very shaky, I think that's where Orlando City can definitely do some damage. You guys do have a very strong attack just in general, up and down. So I am concerned about just the amount of firepower that you guys have, as well as how leaky and shaky our defense can be. That playing into a factor. I think it's going to be a battle of the midfield, really is how I see this coming down. Depending on how our midfield shows up, if they're there to play, I think it might favor us a little bit. But I think also Andre Franco is a late addition in the summer window that we had. Being out for the rest of the season has not helped us much because he was kind of like that little engine that kept us pushing forward towards the end of the season. Leading ends of beginning of August, into the beginning of September. He kind of carried us alongside of that, where the pressure was more or less off of Guti. Gutierrez didn't have to do so much. He could just kind of come off the bench, play here and there. That kind of, moving, channeling things, kind of switching it from the midfield to the attack. that responsibility wasn't solely on him anymore. So with that now being on him, is just something like, obviously playoffs, added pressure, being at home, wanting to actually do something for the city that, obviously it's been a while since Chicago has had any playoff success. So I'm sure, being a Chicago native and being from around the area, he'll want to perform and do well. But it's one of those things where I still don't have full confidence about how this is going to go. And it's kind of funny that we're both kind of saying that. But I think that's largely due to just the track record that the Fire have in terms of, lack of success when it matters most.
I think it's largely due to the fact that MLS playoffs should not go down to 8 and 9. Let's be honest.
I agree,
if this
bro.
is the championship in England,
Too
like the
much.
6 max, and you get a chance to play off.
Yeah,
into, you know what I mean? Like
100%.
it gets to like half the freaking table gets into the playoffs. I think at a certain point, arguably, neither of these teams really deserve to be in the postseason based on how we're ending the season. I think there's arguably better teams in this league. So, yeah, it's not surprising these two play. And it's the kind of same on the West side. Look at like Portland and RSL. It's like, are they really confident, dominant teams at the moment? No. So we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be interesting in the transition. We're such a transition-based team. I feel like, John, you tend to score a lot of goals in transition.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a counterattack off in some ways.
Mhm.
Like, I think that's what we're going to see. You guys have a lot of pace on the counter, just like we do. I think you guys play you play a 5-back or a 3-back. So those wing backs really get up. Yeah. I think that could cause us problems. We've seen Alex Freeman have a very free roll down the right side, and we have like a giant hole.
And that's a battle that I'm actually excited to see.
Yeah.
Freeman versus Gutman. I think Gutman's very good attacking as well.
Exactly.
So
Gutman and Bamba doubling up on that side.
Yeah, with both of them being there, might cause you guys a little bit of trouble, but also he does the same way coming back. So
yeah. And then Zinkernagel on the right side, our left back, who's been in since we've had some injuries and moving around. We brought in a guy in the summer called Adrian Marin.
Oh, gee.
He's played 4 games for us and looked bad in all 4 games. So now the idea of Zinkernagel going up against him, I feel like the wings are going to be the key to this game. Really, like I think the way you guys play, you can beat us around the wings and then get those crosses into the box or find your players with pullbacks, etc. That's, I think, your best option. But we're not the best defensively at the moment either. So we're susceptible to the counterattack. We're susceptible to, you guys doing what we like to do against other teams. And at home, we're going to want to sit and defend. Away from home, we're going to want to sit and defend a bit and try and hit you with those counters. I think it's really about who's more effective in those moments, right? You're going to have breakaways for Zinkernagel and Bamba and Kuipers. We're going to have breakaways for Angulo and Ojeda. Like, who are the guys who are going to be clinical in those moments and actually put the ball in the back of the net? Kuipers is another one, man, that he scares me. He's a very good striker in this league.
Yeah.
I don't like.
He has a lot of
another
attitude.
very decent season. I think it's gone overlooked because there's so many other good strikers in the league. Mm-hmm. But Kuipers is solid. He's a good striker in this league.
I think the weapons that we brought around him, I think the first year that Kuipers had, honestly, in my opinion, hasn't been the best supporting cast around him. I think now with Zinkernagel, Bamba, you bring in Guti in there, there's a little bit more support towards him and getting him the ball. He still kind of drifts wide here and there and kind of drops back in to come pick up the ball. He's kind of one of those strikers that he needs to see the ball, get a couple touches on it so that he can get, kind of going with the game. So I could see if you guys are sitting back, if he doesn't get too many touches on the ball, where that could be an issue. But, if I had to predict, if someone had to forcibly tell me to predict right now, I think we're going to penalties. I'm gonna be so real. I think we're going to penalties.
Wow.
Well, that's funny because I was going to ask you to predict in a minute. So I'm gonna put you down right now on the sheet, Luis. Here we go. This is our great spreadsheet of everything. So we're gonna put penalties down for John. All right, Luis, what you got?
I'm going in Chicago. 3-2 Orlando.
3-2 Orlando.
Yeah.
That's an epic. I mean, John, you'll be mad, but like that's an entertaining game at least.
I think I'd be entertained either way. I don't have
Yeah.
any negative feeling towards
I think it's
Orlando,
got
so.
goals in it, this game, right?
Yeah.
Like we've seen, we got 2 good attacks, 2, questionable defenses. I think we could see a 4-2 the other way, but I think that's a lot. I feel like that's a lot on Chicago.
I feel like for us to perform like that, we have to play an Inter Miami. We have to play like one of those teams.
You gotta play.
I think
do you
get
play
up for those.
down to like your opposition? Like, is that like,
we get up for the games like the
yeah.
ones that like we should theoretically lose. We get up for those games. So
Okay. I'm gonna go. I think it's a 2-1 to us. I don't think there's as many goals in this game as we would like. I think as much as our teams do score, it hasn't been a lot for us recently. I don't know if the Fire been scoring a lot recently, John.
The one that I could remember just off the top of my head, we drew to Toronto after we beat Miami, which, I mean, we should have won that game. And then we drew last week or this past weekend. So it's been kind of just tighter. But that Miami game, I think that Miami game to me proved a lot that we have the ability to do that. It's just whether our players want to and get up for it.
Yeah. I mean, you haven't lost since that New York at home game in September. So you're on a pretty good run of, 3 wins, 2 draws on the last 5 games.
It's good form.
That's
good
better
form,
than our form. We're coming off 2 losses.
What I didn't like though was the 2 draws because I feel like those 2 opponents,
Toronto
which is why
and New England, that you should be beating.
And those are the kind of things that I had said. I was like, if we can get through Miami, this should be an easy running. If someone here drops points, we should get into a playoff spot, and we just didn't because we were the ones that ended up dropping 2 points in each game. It's a killer. It kills you at the end, and we're so fortunate enough to be in a position where we're playing at home. But again, if it was any other team, I'd probably be like, yeah, positive they're playing at home. But it's the Fire. I can't really see.
I mean, with you playing New England in the last game and us playing Toronto, both of these teams had the ability to win the game, put themselves in a better position, not have to be in this playing game.
Yeah. And
neither of them did it, right? You guys definitely came off not so bad as us. We completely, 4-2 in Toronto was a horrible, horrible result for us. But 2-2 away for you guys. Like, you had the opportunity to win the game. That last minute winner, equalizer from New England, then changes everything. That's how we go from, 9th to 8th back to 9th again. But in that scenario, you guys would have not had to play this game. So I think it shows that both teams are just not really seeing out a game for 90 at the moment. Like, I know Orlando City are not able to put together a full performance.
Alex Hugh says, is Elliott available to play? He received a 5th yellow card.
I don't know if that's applicable to the playoffs.
I think did they scrap it before the playoffs?
I think yellow cards get cleared for playoffs.
I think they do, yeah. So I think it's clear.
Now, I think Orlando on offense, they cannot afford to chase the game early. I think that's going to be huge. I think Martino Hayda needs to come alive and score the ones he's going to get. Same with Pasalic. Also the set pieces, like what they did with Brekalo. I think that was important. And again, the mid needs to defend because I think Chicago thrives on their midfield. With Sinkernagel, I think that's going to be a massive leak if Orlando defends like they did against Toronto, especially in the mid. So right now, historically, Orlando is 8-10-5 against Chicago since joining MLS.
Yeah.
So
this year though, they've got a win and a draw against us. So I feel like that. Of all the teams, like really this year, I think we've played badly against Chicago.
100%.
I feel like Greg Berhalter has Oscar's number in some way,
100%.
And that's why I'm interested to see what defensive midfielders he opts to go with,
right?
Because he could quite literally play Acosta. He could decide to go what he's been going with is Kwame and Orejel in the midfield, which gives us a good balance in between. But depending on who plays there, are you going to play the young kid that two kids together that haven't had any playoff experience? Or are you going to play Acosta? Like, what are you going to choose to do there? Like, do you go for experience? Do you go for what's been working? I think it's going to be interesting to see what he does. I think depending on that, that'll be very telling on the mentality and the mindset of the team. But I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, look, a deep block probably Orlando could do, to absorb Chicago's pressure early. Also, I feel Araujo is going to play. I have a feeling as well. And at Tuesta, they need to have the number of Sinkernagel. And also, one of the things that has not been working for Orlando lately is also been the subs, right? The subs need to become important. And there's on the games that Orlando has won, Spicer has scored or Muriel has scored, or, some of the subs have, pan out on a positive note. Not lately. And I think that's what is going to make a huge difference. So, we'll see what happens. But I do agree that I think Berhalter is installing a really good culture in Chicago. I think he's definitely earning his stripes for 100%. And, it's going to be a fun game either way. So hopefully a lot of goals.
Well, thank you, John. Appreciate you coming on here and giving us your thoughts on Chicago, buddy. May the best team win. I mean, this is like do or die. Now, this is an extra game in the midweek, so
yeah, it says it's midweek because I was literally like 2 weeks ago. I bought tickets to go to the Bucks home opener. I was like, oh, whatever, like nothing's gonna happen. MLS playoffs same day, and I'm like, okay. No, I can't even go to the home playoff game. And so I'm like, at least if we go through, then I can go to the other one. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean,
it'll be nice.
On the weekend, one of us could be playing Philly, right? Like this is, we don't know, right?
And
Saturday,
honestly,
season could be over. We don't know.
If I had to say, if both of the teams who has a better chance of beating Philly, I think you guys do. I think you guys have a very strong chance of actually
the 3 games
taking it. Yeah, over the 3 games, probably. Yeah. I don't see Chicago doing it just because I know how poor we were against Philly. So, but
yeah, we managed to get a draw against Philly. Like first opening game of the season, we lost to them 4-2, but then we managed to draw 0-0 later in the season when we were looking a bit better. So, I don't know, man. I think regardless, though, if we don't, whoever wins this game, if they don't win it convincingly, I think that then Philly is right. Like you need to show. For Orlando City's sake right now, we need to show why we deserve to be in the playoffs because we have not shown that recently. And I think Chicago, maybe that's a little different, but like we got to show some fight. It's do or die time. This is it. And I think the last few games, we've not seen that.
100%.
For sure.
All righty, y'all. Well, thank you for everybody for being here on Loud and Proud Orlando. Luis, you want to run us through the socials so we can get out of here?
Sure. Make sure you check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. This episode is going to be up. And so, again, X at LP_podcast, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Thank you for your support. Make sure you, after the fact, after this live, make sure you also drop your comments. We'll answer you on the next live. We have the Pride Pod tomorrow. Tomorrow, we have the Pride Pod at 8 o'clock. So stay tuned for that of all the Pride fans. John, thank you again for coming. Appreciate you, my friend.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me.
Yes, indeed. Pride Pod tomorrow, and then we'll be back on Thursday. If there's another game on Saturday. If not, we'll wait a week and we can be miserable next Monday instead. 100%. So we'll let you all know. Vamos Orlando. Head out to a watch party. Go support the boys. See y'all next time.
See you guys. Let's go. Have a good one.